Hello, welcome to Local Anesthetic Podcast, your weekly injection of mind-numbing local news. This is episode 317. We are recording at 11 on the dot, 11 a.m. on the dot, on Sunday the 28th of June, and I'm joined, as always, our resident in-house local anesthesiac. Would that be the right term, Rob? An anesthesiast? What is it?
It's an anesthesiologist, isn't it?
Our local anesthesiologist, Rob. Thank you, Rob.
I'm down to myself now. Is it an anesthesiologist?
No, it is. I don't know. I thought it was an anesthesist, but I could be complete. Anesthesiologist sounds right. We'll go with it.
Yeah, but I may have just made that up. Anyway, yes. Hello. Good morning. God, that's really throwing me for some reason.
They might be listening in the evening, Rob. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're listening.
Etc. Yes, I'm not too bad. I haven't been sleeping particularly well because of the heat, and unfortunately Sarah is working today on Sunday, which is a rarity, and was up at 6:15 this morning. So,
that's when I wake anyway. I mean,
is it?
Yeah.
And during the week, I can get up at 6:15. During the weekend, I'd like a lie-in.
No, there's no... since turning a certain age, I can't remember when it was, my body wakes up at the same time it does in the week. It won't allow me. So I've got into this really weird ritual during the pandemic, and my body's just got used to it, which I'll often wake at like 5. I won't feel like immediately sleeping, and I'll read for like an hour, and then I'll go back to sleep.
Well, that's what I tried to do today. So I got up and had some breakfast.
I wouldn't do that. No.
I had a night, well, it's quite a leisurely breakfast. I went back to sleep. I managed to get about 45 minutes sleep, and now I just feel just groggy. So maybe it wasn't the wisest idea, but I've got, obviously it is only 11 o'clock, so I've got quite a few hours in which to potentially take a nap.
Yes, but Rob was just telling me off air that he's recently purchased a Nintendo Switch, so I think you will end up just sitting on that, mate.
I'm trying to avoid it. The other thing I've downloaded, do you know the Mr. Rogers film with Tom Hanks?
Yes.
Yeah, I've downloaded that, so that's going to be on my things, and I need to do a bit of cleaning. Sorry, listeners, this is really dull.
I think I've said before that I don't like Tom Hanks in his adult, in his more grown-up roles. To me, Tom Hanks was best when he did the cheap comedies. Turner and Hooch, The Burbs, Dragnet. He was brilliant. I'm not interested in him as a serious actor. I'm sorry, Tom, if you're listening. So anyway, that is a tangent and a half, Rob. We need to get back to local anesthetic. We've got so many stories to cover this week because we're only doing this once every 2 weeks, as people know. And in between that, every other week, we do Daft Talk. So if you haven't listened to the last episode of Daft Talk, listen to it now. Had very good feedback on that, Rob, from listeners, as always. Let's get on with local anesthetic, Rob. I've got loads to cover.
Great.
I just think this is going to be such a good episode. Okay, I've got 4 stories to start us off with, Rob. And I know it sounds a lot, but 3 of them are very short.
Okay.
Right. So first one, this is from a new paper for us, the Idaho Statesman, Rob.
Right.
Yes. And here's the headline: Naked rock thrower evades arrest for 12 hours by perching on railroad sign, Oregon cops say.
How did he evade arrest? Surely they could just, or just follow his example and just throw rocks at him.
It's by Maddie Capron, and it was from the 16th of June. A naked man, Rob, spent more than... Now, because didn't you have a story on the last LA podcast about that builder who was pranked by his mates, and they basically crucified him up some scaffolding and left him there for 12 hours?
I think it was last episode. Yeah, I was trying to think now. I think it was.
Yeah, it was. Well, anyway, this man did it voluntarily, Rob. He spent... Just think about this, Rob. More than 12 hours perched on a railroad crossing sign. Brandon Lee Jackson, 39, was arrested Tuesday in Eugene, Oregon on multiple charges after exposing himself to bystanders, throwing rocks at people, and spending the night on top of the railroad sign, the Eugene Police Department said. Rob, can you stick this into your... because I want you to see the picture because it's extraordinary. Or can I just email it to you?
Let me have a look. So, naked rock thrower, yeah?
It's all right. Do you know what? I've got your email up here. It's a lot easier. There you go. Boom. Done. Because I want you to see the particular picture. The crisis negotiation team responded to the location and was continuing contact with the suspect, police said. The call went more than 12 hours total with officers working on solutions. He sat through, Rob, occasional rain showers. Media outlets reported.
Right, okay.
We've all been there. When Jackson was taken into custody, he put a canine officer in a headlock and punched the dog several times.
I mean, I understand that he was trying to evade arrest, but that seems unnecessary.
See, this could be the Turner and Hooch sequel, Rob.
It really could be. Now, let's not forget, Alex. I mean, there are monks in certain parts of the world that as an act of devotion, will spend years living up a pole.
Rob, that's true. Jackson was hit with a laundry list of first and second degree charges, including assault, reckless endangering, criminal trespass, criminal mischief, public indecency, and disorderly conduct. He was charged with robbery and assault from a June the 15th incident and theft from a June the 14th incident. Additionally, Jackson had charges for theft and criminal mischief from a March incident. That's basically the story, Rob.
Right, okay. Let me just have a quick look at this, because I would like to see this naked man up a pole. I'm not a pervert, just out of pure curiosity, as opposed to anything else. Wow. Okay. Does it say...
Describe for the listener, Rob.
Well, can I just ask, does it say why he was doing this?
Nope. I think this is one of the signs of the end times, really. He's like a prophet in the wilderness, Rob.
Just imagine if that was the case. If he was, this man was prophetic and was basically saying the end is nigh.
Could be the second coming.
It could well be.
Anyway, Rob's not going to describe it for the listener. It's a man up a pole. Go and look it up for yourself. All these stories, Rob, that I'm doing do involve misdemeanors. The next one, Rob, is from a paper that I featured for the first time last episode, which is the Brussels Times.
Oh, yeah, that fictional paper you mentioned. Yeah, I remember.
No, it's a brilliant story. Do you remember the last episode, I think it was, where I had the story about that German guy with the pizzas?
I do remember, from that fictional country you made up.
What, the one that you didn't know that had a president, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's from Friday 19th of June. Man smuggling cocaine in artificial penis caught at Brussels airport.
Wow. Okay.
He was British. British man who caught... See, I haven't seen this in our newspapers, but I like the fact that Brussels and Belgium have been straight on it to report this. A British man was caught at Brussels airport while trying to smuggle cocaine into Belgium by hiding it in an artificial penis, and he's been sentenced to 38 months in prison.
Right.
Which is, for some reason, 3 years and 2 months, isn't it?
Yeah, but who knows what the... maybe it was 1 month per rap. Who can say?
The man was arrested on 8th of February when he landed at Brussels airport on a flight from Jamaica. He tested positive for cocaine, after which the man was transferred to the University Hospital in Brussels for a more in-depth investigation. We know what that means, Rob.
Yeah, absolutely.
That means a hand up your arse. At the hospital, doctors and police officers established that the man had been equipped with an artificial penis in which, Rob, was 127 grams of white powder, later identified as cocaine. The man stated that he'd visited his mother in Jamaica and an acquaintance there had offered him cocaine. He said he took it with him. To use it himself once at home. He doesn't explain. Well, anyway, that's the story. Rob, this artificial penis. So how does this work? Because he's already got his own penis. So did he put it next to it, do you think? Or did he sheathe his real penis with the artificial penis? I think that's what he did. I think the artificial penis went over his real penis, and in the difference in size is where he bulked it up with cocaine. I mean, it's genius.
See, I'm now... Because I don't know why, but the first thing that came to mind was I would have liked to have known the dimensions, and maybe he was on the flight, started speaking to one of his female passengers and started bragging about potentially the size of it and making gestures towards his crotch, and that's what raised suspicions, because it was comically large.
But why would he do that, Rob? Why would he do that? He's trying to be inconspicuous. I just like the idea that the sniffer dogs, when he got out at the airport, were all sniffing around his crotch. He was taken into a room, asked to remove his trousers, and presented with this really feeble, obviously fake sort of artificial penis, and then had to go through the indignity of having that sort of removed from him and this cocaine falling out all over to the floor. Oh, how did that get there?
Was he not also on cocaine at the time? Did you not also say that he was under the influence?
No. He said that he was taking it home to use it for himself.
Oh,
okay, Rob, third story. As I say, there are 4. Rob, this I really need your full attention on. I mean, no story has affected one of us personally more than this story affects you.
Okay.
I think you could find hearing about this story, Rob, quite cathartic.
I get the impression this is going to be derogatory in some way.
No, not at all. Rob, you have, as we have talked about this, I mean, anybody who's listened to this podcast for a long time will know that, as human beings, we all make mistakes, don't we, Rob? All of us do things and say things and that we regret in our past life, and if we're good people, we face the consequences for those actions and we pay penance. And as all of our listeners will know, Rob, you spent some period of time of your life inside prison because of your escapades in a honey monster outfit. And I know
that's right. Yeah,
and I know you struggled. Yeah, go on.
Go on. No, all I was going to say was that's when I was wrongfully convicted of certain.
No, Rob, it's not wrongfully, Rob. You meant to have accepted this in order to move on.
Alex, there's no. I mean, it was a wrongful conviction, and although I can't go into it, the case is still pending on appeal. So, but anyway, you were saying.
Well, Rob, the point is that I know that you have struggled with the feeling of loneliness and isolation, and feeling like, why has this fetish afflicted me? Your very, very niche fetish of wanting to dress up as the honey monster. Well, Rob, I want to tell you, Rob, that you are not alone. This is from the Pennsylvania Live website. It is by no journalist. It's the 27th of February, so a little while ago. But Rob, this is the story. It was a sad but bizarre sight. A mum passed out in her car of an apparent opioid overdose, dressed in a Cookie Monster costume.
I mean, Alex, that's just depraved.
Rob, you're not alone.
Why would you dress as a children's TV character? Mine was a beloved mascot of a breakfast cereal. That's a children's character.
So you're telling me you're judging her? Okay, you're judging. Okay. Police say it happened right after the mum, identified as Rachel Love Martin, 38, of Westmoreland County, Pennsylvania, had just dropped off her 9-year-old child with autism with a babysitter in West Newton. Oh, Rob, the indignity of this. Yeah. According to KDKA-TV in Pittsburgh, the criminal complaint states police arrived to the babysitter's house, finding the child wearing no shoes or socks with just a pair of pants and a t-shirt. It was only 43 degrees out that day, and that's 43 degrees Fahrenheit, so it was pretty cold.
Yeah.
The same officer allegedly found the mum slumped over the wheel of her car that was still running. So we should envisage this.
Oh my God.
Wearing a blue Cookie Monster full body costume. First responders were called and she was given Narcan as she appeared to be overdosing on heroin. She was taken to the emergency room where she recovered. Child News Services placed a 9-year-old boy with her biological grandmother. Meanwhile, the mother faces child endangerment charges in the case. As for why she was clad in that famous Sesame Street character known for his cookie addiction, police just aren't sure. Now, Rob, I thought you could contact the police and help them understand, Rob. What would drive somebody to this? I don't know if you were taking heroin at the time, but
no. Let's not. Again, you're besmirching.
I don't want to jeopardise your case. Yeah,
I was in full control of my mental faculties. Maybe, Alex, it was the only thing she had clean. We've all been there. You
must maybe spit out my drink, you bastard. Okay, fine.
It was the first thing in the morning. When you first get out of bed, you hear a knock at the door, maybe a parcel's being delivered, you just grab the closest thing to hand. And for her, unfortunately, it was a costume.
I've never asked you, how did you procure your Honey Monster costume? Did you break into Nestle or whoever makes sugar puffs?
They donated it. I'm not saying they're complicit in this, by the way. I'm just saying that I know a friend of a friend who's the CEO of Nestle.
Right, Rob, last story. My favourite. Listen up, and please, Rob, please feel free to interrupt, because the details of this are brilliant.
Okay.
This is from KFTV9 in Wisconsin, I believe, in America. Headline. Sorry, February 26th this was. Headline. Wisconsin woman performs ritual on dead possum in road. Tells it to repent.
Okay. I mean, I've met some possums in my time and they really should all repent. Evil. Very evil.
A Wisconsin woman had 5 pounds of possum in her headlights on Monday. According to witnesses in a police report, the woman performed a spiritual ritual on the dead opossum in the road, then pulled out a lawn chair from her vehicle and urged the animal to, in quotes, repent.
Does it say what the ritual involved?
I don't know, I can't remember. The woman was apparently driving on a Wisconsin road when she saw the dead critter, the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel reported. According to witnesses, the woman got out of her vehicle, opened the passenger door. Oh, yes, it does. Right, okay.
Okay.
You want to hear the ritual? So, She was driving along. She didn't hit this possum, she just saw it there dead on the road.
Of course, right, yeah.
So what did she do? She pulled over, opened her door, and threw goldfish and windshield wiper fluid over the possum.
So where did she get the goldfish from?
Carrying them around for this eventuality, I assume, Rob.
Of course, yeah, that makes sense.
Through goldfish and windscreen wiper, that would burn those goldfish up, wouldn't it?
Windscreen wiper fluid. No, it wouldn't burn it up. That's because you think that's the stuff. I mean, it's acidic, but I don't think it wouldn't. It's not like caustic acid.
All right,
caustic acid.
I still don't think it would be good for the goldfish, Rob, or the possum.
No, but I don't think that was her primary concern.
A second person said the woman took out a lawn chair and started yelling "repent" at the dead animal.
Of course.
A person who'd been following the woman's vehicle called police and reported that her behaviour was erratic. According to the police log, the animal, which was not playing possum but was in fact dead, was removed from the highway. And that is the story.
Astonishing.
This is the week, Rob. I don't know if you saw, I was going to include some clips on the podcast. You must have seen about this town hall meeting that happened in Florida. Did you see about this, where these people, where, they were voting on the mandatory use of face masks? And
no,
people...
of course I did.
Oh, God. Well, then you and any listeners who haven't heard it are in for a treat. So this was basically to debate the mandatory use of face masks, which Florida are bringing in because their cases have spiraled out of control. And members of the public, Rob, were allowed to feed back directly to this on a town hall meeting. I cannot believe you haven't heard this. So what you're going to hear, Rob, is a selection of the different things that people said in these meetings. We're just going to let Rob listen to it and our listeners listen to it and just let this breathe.
My name is Butch, and I'm an American patriot. See that flag? I would die for that flag. The Constitution that you are supposed to uphold, I would die for that.
It is appalling that each and every one of you sitting up there as human beings, part of the human race, the only race that we have, would suggest to muffle people, to put masks on our face, to keep us from breathing oxygen, to get us to become sickly.
You preach pseudoscience and safety. Does anyone care about preserving the liberty of the people who pay your salaries? Some of you are up there smirking and smiling at public comments to which you do not agree. I have the photos, and they're shameful.
I have the photos, and they're shameful. Fuck off.
They want to throw God's wonderful breathing system out the door. You're all turning your backs on it. Can you prove that it's good for people to breathe carbon dioxide over and over and over again?
What about PTSD from child
Alex,
abuse
are these people being deliberately
obtuse? I was left in a hot car. You want to cover my face?
No, they're like characters out of South Park,
because I remember being stuck in that hot car. What about people like me? We don't matter because of the greater good, right?
I own a firearms business. Now, I think you might agree with me that it would be ludicrous for me to allow someone into my shop to purchase a firearm who's wearing a mask, whose face I cannot see.
We will get together and do a citizen's arrest on every single human being that goes against the freedom of choice, okay? You literally cannot mandate somebody to wear a mask knowing that that mask is killing people.
You're not God, and since masks are harmful, where there is risk, there should be choice. You're removing our freedoms and stomping on our constitutional rights by these communist dictatorship orders or laws you want to mandate.
Where have they got the idea that masks are harmful or restricting them or stopping them breathing? Do they not fundamentally understand how these work?
They believe that they're breathing in their own carbon dioxide all the time, that it will kill them, and it's part of a devil. Did you hear the woman? A lot of them talk about the devil in this.
That makes me angry.
Anyway, we've got to get on with the podcast, Rob.
I'm not sure we should. I think we should end it now.
Okay, Rob, you got some stories for us. I believe you're doing something unusual. You got a listener story now and at the end.
Yeah, there's two short stories that I really wanted to feature. I've had them for a while, and they're both sort of coronavirus related. But I wanted to shoehorn them in, and like I said, they're both quite short, so I thought I'd do both on the same episode. So the first story is was submitted by Amy.
Thank you,
from
Amy.
The Somerset Live, and this is from the 4th of May. It does go back a bit. The headline: Virtual knob eating contest to take place amid lockdown.
Sorry. And knob isn't what is this knob? Because it's not, I assume, a penis.
No, it is in the story. So, a virtual knob eating contest is to take place over Facebook Live this weekend, with organisers not put off by the coronavirus lockdown. The Dorset Knob Festival, which is really something I'd like to attend.
My parents live down in Dorset. Oh, I could attend it, couldn't I? If I could go down and visit them and go to the Knob Festival.
Unfortunately, you have missed this year's, but there's always next year, and hopefully then it'll be in full swing.
Well, that's the classic knob move, isn't it, Rob? There's a knob festival, but you managed to miss it.
Yeah, very true.
What a knob.
So the Dorset Knob Festival, which is organised by Dorset Tea, will take place online this Sunday, May the 10th, and will raise money for the Weldmar Hospital charity.
So I need to know what this knob is. You still haven't told me.
The main feature of the event will be a knob eating contest, which will see 100 contestants scrambling to devour as many Dorset knobs, a dry, savoury biscuit made of bread dough, as they can in 1 minute.
Having spent a lot of time in Dorset, I've never come across these dry biscuits before.
Well, and next time you're down there, Alex, make sure you pop into your local bakery and ask if you can have a dozen knobs.
I will.
And if anyone would like, you
I
can't
fancy a knob, a dry, crusty one if you've got one, preferably.
Yeah, and then it just finishes the article. Just say tea and knobs will be sent to contestants in time for the contest, which is always nice.
Okay, thank you, Amy.
Right, so on to my actual stories for this week. Now, I've really had to cut the story down because it is quite lengthy, but I've tried to keep all the salient details in. Alex and I did discuss it. We both had it, and he's very kindly agreed to let me feature it for this week.
Oh, Rob, this is such a good story. I'm actually happy that I'm not reading it because I just get to soak it in. And I've sent Rob another version of the article as well, so we've got plenty to sink our teeth into here.
The version you sent me, Alex, my version is 3 times as long.
Oh, brilliant!
It's ridiculous.
I want that. Now, Rob, can I just ask you before you read this? When I read it, I thought you were going to say to me, "Didn't we cover this before?" Or was it just a very similar story I had? Do you remember that story I had a number of weeks ago about that systematic campaign of intimidation where things were sent in letters and through the mailbox? Do you remember? But that wasn't to do with this, was it? It was completely
No, it wasn't.
separate.
That's right. It was very similar. Yeah, but
well, actually, let's not keep our listeners. Let's not tease them, Rob.
No. Okay, so first of all, it is from CBS Boston. That's the website I've taken the story from, by Andrew Lelling. And the headline: 6 eBay executives and employees charged with sending threats, bloody pig mask to Nantic couple.
It is such a good story.
And it's quite astonishing.
Right, go through it slowly, Rob. We got time.
So 6 former eBay executives and employees are facing federal charges after they allegedly led a cyber-stalking campaign against a Nantic couple they believe were critical of the company in an online e-commerce newsletter. US Attorney Andrew Lelling said the eBay employees' harassment included sending the couple disturbing deliveries that included a bloody pig mask, a box of live cockroaches, and a funeral wreath.
Which is the episode title. Let's just go through that. Fucking hell. I mean, let's forget these eBay executives and employees for a second because that's staggering enough. A bloody pig mask. What was the second one?
A box of live cockroaches.
A box of live cockroaches, but the funeral wreath. I mean, I love it's so mafia, isn't it?
Oh,
it's
wait, really?
The fucking horse's head in the bed when you wake up. A funeral wreath.
I just don't, because you just imagine these employees, like I said, these employees are made up of employees and executives at eBay. We are talking high-level management. That's what makes this even worse.
Really, I should boycott eBay as a result of this story, but I'm not going to. But
no, nor am I.
It's like Amazon. I know I shouldn't, but it's just too convenient, Rob. That should be their headline. You know you shouldn't, but it's just too convenient.
You're going to hell, but at least the deliveries are quick. Anyway, yeah, so, and it gets worse, Alex. It does detail all the things they sent to this couple. Can I ask... So,
Rob, wait a second. I want you to tell me, Rob, RE Amazon, am I part of the problem or part of the solution? I am an Amazon Prime member, right? The other day I ordered 2 things, and obviously I got next day delivery on them. And then what happened was, so they'd already been sent out, and then I realised... and then on the next day when these orders were due to arrive in the morning, my fridge light went.
Okay.
And I'd never had to replace a fridge light before, and I looked it up, what kind of bulb I needed and everything, and went on Amazon and I ordered a 2-pack. And because the option was there, because they offered it to me, I ordered it for same day delivery. So I got one package turn up at one point in the day, and then at about 11 at night, I got 2 tiny light bulbs that driver had to drive all the way to me. Am I part of the problem or am I part of the solution?
Alex, have you planted any trees to offset your carbon footprint?
No.
No. Then you're part of the problem.
Right.
The employees also allegedly sent anonymous threatening messages and travelled to Massachusetts to conduct covert surveillance of the victims.
Rob, this is... I know I shouldn't say this because this could be the end of the podcast. This reminds me of Scientology.
Yeah, it really is. It's a systematic undermining of this couple. I mean, the fact they're going to their houses and watching their daily movements is really...
Sorry, can I just clarify, Rob? What I meant to say is this reminds me of the alleged offences committed by by the Scientology organisation, but those have really been proven not to take place and are part of a hateful campaign to suppress Scientology and to besmirch it, because Scientology is a fine organisation. Continue, Rob.
I didn't realise they got to you too, Alex, although I know how litigious they are. So
no,
James,
no, that is factually incorrect.
Okay, it's good to know, Alex. I welcome your conversion to Scientology, and I hope you have a long and meaningful something. James Ball, 45, of San Jose, California. eBay former Director of Safety and Security, which I do find slightly ironic, and former eBay Director of Global Resilience, David Harville, 48, of New York, were among the 6 charged.
Rob, how do you get involved in something like this and not, at some stage not say, this is not going to end well? I mean, this is proper mafia stuff.
Because we're talking, I'm guessing this couple run a very, very low-level e-commerce newsletter and maybe slagged off the organisation. And for some reason, some of the executives at eBay thought, right, we're taking these fuckers down.
Rob, can we test it to see? Like right now, let's see if it's still going on. eBay is a fucking terrible organisation. Both Rob and I agree on that. There we go, we've said it. Now let's see what happens, Rob. I'm waiting. I'll check the post this week. I want that bloody pig mask.
Can I just say that I like to distance myself from my
hang
colleagues'
on a minute.
comments.
I actually like eBay. I mean,
I think it's a valuable service and really, really valuable to society as a whole. Anyway, so the former eBay employees are accused of sending this bloody pig mask and this book about death and grief to a Nantic couple.
Now that's one of the features I loved of this story. In fact, I don't know if you're gonna come onto it later, Rob, but I'm just bringing up the version I had because it was one particular. I have
got the full gamut of deliveries, by the way.
Yeah, yes, go on, please.
Okay, but let me just come on to that. So, in 2019, 2 members of the leadership team allegedly sent or forwarded text messages saying it was time to, in quotes, take down the newsletter's editor. One of the messages said the group wanted to crush this lady, referring to the editor. The couple then received a host of deliveries aimed at intimidating them. These deliveries included fly larvae and live spiders, a box of live cockroaches, a sympathy wreath on the occasion of the death of a loved one.
That's the one I love. That is. I mean, that it crosses any kind of line. I mean, basically saying we may kill your partner.
Yeah. And then also, and it goes on to say, a book of advice on how to survive the death of a spouse. So again, not only do they threaten to kill this person, and then give advice about how to overcome that death.
All delivered with free eBay delivery.
Yeah. Pornography mailed to the next door neighbours sent in the couple's name.
I loved that. It was like really
so
perverse
petty.
pornography.
That's what's great.
Well, it's not just no, bro. It's beyond that. This is a criminal offence.
Yeah. Halloween masks featuring the face of a bloody pig and the pig fetus, which was ordered, but after an inquiry by the supplier,
yes,
thankfully it was never sent.
But they were going to, Rob.
Yeah.
They were going to send them a pig fetus. Rob, I mean, let's just get into this for a second. What got into these executives and workers' minds that they thought this newsletter had some kind of power that was going to stop people using eBay, that they needed to go to these lengths to stop the bad publicity?
Absolutely, Alex. You've hit the nail on the head. We are talking about a global organisation.
I've never heard of this newsletter.
No, exactly. Because why would you? Why do they feel they need?
Who even does newsletters anymore?
Also, they're very true. But
newsletters are very 90s, Rob.
How on earth do they feel threatened by this obviously very, very limited circulation newsletter that they need to go after this couple?
True David and Goliath story, this.
So as it says before, US Attorney Andrew Levin charged them on cyber-stalking charges. However, on August 18th, just after midnight, the eBay employees allegedly posted a classified ad on Craigslist claiming to be from the Nantic couple, inviting singles, couples, and swingers to a house party after 10 p.m. every night.
I love that.
People were encouraged to knock
This is like, you know, like when people, this is like all these people in a room who've decided to do this, they've got so carried away, they think they're at university playing pranks. This is like ridiculous.
But I think you're
breaking the law.
They're acting as like this is part of a fraternity.
Yeah.
And they've started talking. So people were encouraged to knock on the couple's door anytime, day or night.
Oh my God.
This is awful, Alex. All the employees were fired by eBay following investigation. Not really surprising.
Do we know what this couple said about eBay on the newsletter?
No, that wasn't in my article.
No, I don't know either. I mean, what the fuck was it?
However, attorney Antti Len just basically said, for a while they succeeded, psychologically devastating these victims for a week. The result, as alleged in the complaint, was a systematic campaign fueled by the resources of a Fortune 500 company to emotionally and psychologically terrorise this middle-aged couple with the goal of deterring them from writing bad things online about eBay. What a quote that is.
It really is. Did you know this part of it, Rob? I've just found this. So did you know that the prosecutors in this case said that eBay's plan was twofold? Have you got that bit? So basically, well, it doesn't matter, I'll just tell you. I did not know this in the bits I read. So the plan was twofold. First, the eBay members would harass the couple who published the newsletter with online deliveries at all times of day and night and sending threatening messages, which we've covered. But the second stage of the plan was that the eBay team would then contact the couple and proclaim that eBay had noticed the harassment and offered to help them get out of the threatening environment they themselves had created. In essence, the plan was for eBay to arrive to rescue the victims from the very harassment that the defendants and the co-conspirators had themselves created in order to earn the victims' goodwill. So this is proper abusive relationship stuff. I'm going to hurt you, but I'm the solution.
But as it says, psychologically devastating these victims. That's exactly what they're trying to do.
Apparently, the group, Rob, according to the FBI special agent in charge of the case, was inspired by the movie Johnny Be Good.
I don't know that, Phil.
Have you got the picture of the pig mask? I have. It's horrific.
Yeah, it is horrific. Yeah.
They used Rob, this eBay team used burner phones and laptops, overseas email accounts and prepaid debit cards purchased with cash to try and cover up their alleged crimes. I don't know if you've watched Breaking Bad, but I think they were watching too much of that. I mean, they just got they got completely carried away.
Yeah, at some stage they've lost all concept of what's reasonable. They've just...
Of reality as well, I would say. Oh, hang on a minute. Hang on, Rob. I know what was in the newsletter.
Oh, go on.
The online newsletter published stories titled, for example, things like what is behind Amazon Prime shipping delays and Craigslist finally launches a mobile app worth the wait. So the kind of things were not, the kind of things it would have said about eBay were just the normal stuff you would find on like tech websites. I mean, it wasn't anything even that controversial, just being critical.
That doesn't surprise me, Alex. Like I said, this has been blown out of all proportion, and for some reason they decided to go after this, as it says, a middle-aged couple. That's it.
But Rob, I just want you to imagine, I'm looking at the book as well, Grief Diary, Surviving the Loss of a Spouse, True Stories about Finding Healing and Hope After the Loss of a Husband or Wife. I'm looking at the book that they were sent, Rob.
But Alex, let's also face the fact that this couple had no idea who was doing this.
God.
It must have been absolutely terrifying.
I just imagine this room with... I just want to go... The first time somebody suggested this in the eBay team. All right, look, we need to try and put them off criticising us. Anybody got any ideas? And some psychopath goes, bloody pig mask, cockroaches, pig fetus. And somebody else goes, yeah, all right. And from there, it just snowballs.
Alex, is it possible that one of those employees basically had a lockup with all these things in and just wanted to shift them?
Couldn't sell them on eBay. Now, Rob, I'm more used to saying this on Daft Talk every week, but it is the time of the week for love. Because, Rob, I have a heartwarming story of romance here for you. Something that will move you, Rob. Probably bring a tear to your eye. Maybe inspire you, I don't know. It's beautiful. Now, Rob, the details of this story are quite extraordinary. It's one of my favourite stories I think we've had in some time.
Okay.
It is from the Daily Mirror. It's by Kelly Ann Mills. And it was published on the 15th of June, 2020. Okay, here's the story, Rob. A personal trainer who says he contracted cold sores after kissing a woman on a date is now suing her for over £130 in compensation for her, in quotes, negligence.
Sorry, 130 quid?
£130,000, Rob.
Oh, sorry, right. I wish it was £130. That sounds even more petty.
130 grand. Right, Rob, this story is extraordinary. We need to get into the psyche of this man, because at first I thought, oh, is this some sort of joke? It's not. Right, here we go. Martin Ashley Conway says he has been, in quotes, traumatised, and his life and work seriously affected after catching the herpes simplex cold sore virus through snogging a woman during a romantic meet-up in London last year. Mr. Conway claims his date, who he knew as Giovanna Lovelace, and like him was a member of a social network called Meetup.com, was negligent in kissing him when she had an active cold sore.
Sorry, Alex. Meetup.com?
Yes.
Does that not sound slightly suspect? That's a hookup app, isn't it?
Yeah, well, yeah, quite obviously, I would say. The 45-year-old claims she owed him a duty of care to protect him from contracting, in his words, Rob, a virus for life.
Sorry, it's a cold sore?
Yeah, no, but Rob, some people don't. Hang on a minute. I don't know if you know about. Cold sores are a symptom of an underlying strain of herpes, the herpes simplex virus, that people either have or they don't. So I've never had a cold sore because I don't have herpes. Anybody who does get cold sores does have herpes.
Oh, yeah, I never had I didn't know that, Alex. Also, you seem to know an awful lot about that.
Yes.
Right, okay. Fair enough.
He says he became... Rob, I take these things seriously. He says he became ill several days after the date, developing flu-like symptoms and mouth ulcers, and had to be rushed into hospital, Rob, because he said he suffered a panic attack.
Okay. I mean, that's possible. It is possible. We don't know that that's not the case.
He is now suing his date for £130,000, claiming she must pay for infecting him with a condition which has left him needing, Rob, therapy.
I mean, it's a cold sore.
He says she had a moral and ethical legal duty to warn me of the risks I would be exposed to, adding, I was kissed before I was informed of any cold sore. Can you imagine? Just before that moment, Rob, that tender moment, just to let you know, I've got herpes.
Also, from my understanding, you can usually see a cold sore, can't you?
Yeah, quite a way off, yeah.
Yeah, okay, fair enough. Maybe it was dark. Maybe it was, I don't know, in a car park or something.
However, his date, who's in her 30s, is fighting the Central London County Court compensation claim, there's a lot of C's there, which her lawyers describe as frivolous and vexatious and doomed to fail.
Yeah, that's fair.
Fitness coach Mr. Conway of Paddington, West London, says he is found eating painful, and after calling 111 and being referred to hospital, he was diagnosed He was diagnosed with, in his words, the lifelong virus of herpes simplex virus and given medication. This guy actually called 111, Rob. A few days later, he had a panic attack and collapsed at home after seeing more ulcers appearing and had to be taken to St Mary's Hospital, Paddington, by an ambulance, he says. So he woke up one day, Rob, found more like cold sores, ulcers appearing, and this caused him to have a panic attack, and he actually had to be rushed to hospital in an ambulance.
Sorry, he lives in Paddington and got an ambulance to St Mary's.
Yeah, I used to live there, people, and you don't need... it's in walking distance from anywhere in Paddington. Paddington's quite a small place.
Yeah, it really is. What an arsehole.
My illness was worsening, he says, and I was unable to eat or leave my apartment, he says, adding that he endured a a few weeks of not leaving my property except for medical appointments. Remember, Rob, this was before the pandemic.
Can I just... I'm assuming that, obviously, this guy's a personal trainer, and this is going to be a generalisation. I imagine that he's very particular about his physique, because obviously, I'm guessing he's very well groomed.
No, I'm looking at a picture of him. He's balding. He's not particularly attractive.
Oh, really?
He looks a bit geeky, but his body looks in good shape because, yeah, it would be if you're a fitness coach.
I just imagine he'd be like one of these Instagram figures who is very fixated on their appearance, but obviously not.
Oh no, not that kind of guy. No, he looks like a complete geek.
Right,
Rob,
okay.
Rob, I think what's going on here is we have a man here who's a complete hypochondriac.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, yeah.
Right? Okay, so next bit. Mr. Conway says he's been left at a higher risk of catching a more severe ailment, including, in his words, the rare but devastating sporadic encephalitis. He's obviously been doing his Google research, so he knows now that if you've got this herpes simplex, you're at more risk of developing other things. He also claims, Rob, he can no longer go cycling as he worries that the heat and stress will cause a flare-up of the condition.
I don't understand. What?
Rob, listen, please. He says the stigma and pain of having the virus has had cycle implications on him, which are hard to manage, he says. I mean, to reiterate what you said earlier, I don't know what percentage it is, but a very significant percentage of the population carry herpes simplex and get cold sores. That's why there's the Virex and all that. It's not some ultra rare thing that you're going to be stigmatized for.
I just can't help thinking now that... Because obviously you said this is before lockdown. He must be absolutely fucking panicking at the moment.
He says problems such as shock, anger, guilt and depression are commonly reported, and these may be intensified by the lack of control that patients feel they have over the disease. I have suffered from depression in the past, and I fear that I'll need regular psychological support to manage the added psychological burden caused by the nature of the herpes infection which has been given to me. Mr. Conway says the relationship with the woman broke down after catching the virus. No shit. Or when you sued her for £130,000?
I mean, it could be this is part of an elaborate scam, and maybe they're going to split the money. But I mean, I'm not sure that's going to work because she's going to have to pay him. So effectively, she'll be paying her back.
Yeah, Rob, it's a shit scam, yeah. He says, I was upset, angry, and very confused. I wanted justice. And it was then I decided I wanted to take legal action against the respondent for the illness she brought upon me. He continues, As a herpetic, which he's now describing himself as because he has herpes, a herpetic, the respondent had a moral and ethical legal duty to warn me of the risks that I would be exposed to, considering the contagious nature of the virus and herpes being a virus for life. I did not freely enter into the risks relating to the injury or any type of contagion. I was kissed before I was informed of any cold sore. Rob, can I offer what I feel is some balanced criticism of this guy? If you're meeting strangers up, if you're meeting up with strangers on an app called meetup.com, you deserve whatever's coming to you.
No, I completely agree. I mean, it's not like you went on a first date with this woman. Basically, this, as I said, this was a hookup. Okay? You knew what you were getting into.
She could have been carrying on.
I feel no sympathy for you. I mean, herpes could have been the least of your worries.
Yes. Well, he says she owed me a duty of care, and she says the harm that she caused was reasonably foreseeable. He continues, Rob, if you can take any more of this man.
Not really, no. This is annoying me.
Rob, it is fair, just and reasonable for the court to impose a duty of care upon the respondent due to the risk that was negligently being taken with my health, which was reasonably foreseeable and which led to 3 weeks of severely acute symptoms leading to emotional, physical and financial distress. Mr. Conway, who is also studying law, no shit, goes on to say that studies suggest that physical and cognitive function can be reduced in people carrying the cold sore virus. I've never heard of that. I mean, I don't think we can argue that people who get cold sores are sort of somehow cognitively less capable than the rest of us.
I don't know, does it leave you immunocompromised? I don't know.
Well, he's saying it affects you cognitively, Rob.
Oh, no, yeah, okay, I think that's bullshit.
Right, Rob, here is the icing on the cake in this beautiful love story, this tender story, Rob. He's claiming £100,328 in compensation for his date. And 100,000 of that, Rob, he's saying he needs for fortnightly therapy sessions until the age of 79.
How is he...
Rob, listen to that phrase again. £100,000 for fortnightly therapy sessions until the age of 79. This man's in his 30s. He's predicting he's going to need 40 years of therapy to recover from this. Not medical therapy, psychological, Rob.
Also, Alan, is he preempting his own death? Is he anticipating he's dying at the age of 79?
I think he thinks that'll be a good innings. He also wants payments to cover lost earnings while he was ill and to cover income protection insurance until retirement in case of further bouts. This is a cold sore. You're not going to have to take time off work, mate.
No, Alex, let's just cut this story short. This guy's a fucking idiot.
Now, I've only got a bit left. In her defence, Miss Lovelace claims Mr. Conway's version of events and the accuracy of much of his account of their relationship is false. She denies any liability, asks for the claim to be struck out, and adds, this action against the defendant is frivolous and vexatious. The case reached court briefly in February for pre-trial directions hearing and is due back again for a further hearing later this year. Given the build-up of cases, Rob, in the courts, I wouldn't be surprised if a judge just looks at this and tells him to fuck off.
This will be thrown out, yeah, without a doubt. Although, I'm assuming this is taking place at Westminster Magistrates. We could pop by and see what happens.
Oh, God, I'd love that.
Something to think about.
Right, well, anyway, Rob, look, it is time for as I slowly unsheath my shiny purple recorder here. Rob, can you see it coming out?
I can, yep. Don't slow that down, it makes it worse.
It is time for our listener story of the week. Pop it back in its sheath.
Lovely.
Oh, no, well, it's not really, because we had one earlier, and this one's only short, Rob, isn't it? So
yeah, this is... So, I just thought, as lockdown is effectively over...
Now, Rob, please don't... It actually isn't. That's the thing. Well, okay, it is, but... Rob, the cock-up they've made of this...
Alex, we need to keep this light.
They're just saying fuck it. They're just saying fuck it now. I know, it really distresses me. Rob, this whole thing about July the 4th, they were asked about this. They had ministers on the radio being asked. The pubs have said... It's the worst thing you can do to open this on a Saturday. Could you do it in the midweek the following week? And they said, no, we've decided on July the 4th. And they kept being asked on the radio, why July the 4th? Why? Oh, that's just a date. We all know why, because they want it to resonate with Independence Day. They're just completely fucking bonkers.
Yeah, that particular day is going to be carnage. Absolute carnage.
I am going to fucking barricade the house on that day.
Yeah. That's the day that civilization will break down. But anyway, in a lighter note...
So you're not heading to Wetherspoons on July the 4th then, Rob, for a slap-up breakfast?
I didn't say that, Alex. I'll be there in the queue at 7 o'clock waiting to get in.
With your 12-inch plate.
Yeah, as I said, with civilization... Alex, I would just like to clarify that Wetherspoons don't do buffet breakfasts.
Do they not?
No, they don't. No. It's all cooked fresh on site to order.
Okay.
I don't know whether that's true. Right. Anyway, so as I said, with lockdown effectively over, as we've seen the pictures in the paper of the beaches. Here's a story that marries up quite nicely to that. So it goes back. It goes back to the 2nd of May when lockdown was at its best, when at its peak, really. When
it really meant something, Rob.
Yeah, really meant something. Back in the glory days of the lockdown.
I remember. Do you reckon, Rob, that when we're 17 doing this podcast, we were like, I remember when lockdown meant lockdown, not the lockdown not the lockdown that goes on nowadays. I remember when it meant sitting indoors and just eating beans.
Do you know what? I'm really concerned that might actually be the case.
I look forward to it,
especially as we're still seeing flare-ups around the country.
Oh yeah.
Can I just say
honestly, Rob, I don't think we'll be here because I fear we would have reached some sort of extinction event by then. It terrifies me. I'm terrified, Rob. Rob, help me.
Did you also happen to see a
story? Right, fine. Cheers, mate.
Sorry, mate. I sort of glaze over that.
Glaze over my request for help. That could have been genuine, Rob. I'm going through an existential crisis. Help.
I hope you weren't doing this podcast.
Yeah, actually, it is the place I thought to do it. But anyway, never mind.
Oh, okay. We'll talk about it afterwards. In The Guardian, there was a very small article that basically said that, that there was this Ebola outbreak back in 2017.
I love the way you just casually... Do you remember that? Did you know that there was this Ebola outbreak? Yeah, I remember something about that, Rob. It was fucking horrific the way that killed people, wasn't it? But it was mainly confined to Africa, wasn't it? So we didn't care as much.
Unfortunately, that is true. And apparently there's a story this week that it's only just been eradicated.
Right, good.
3 years later.
Fucking
you know, something to look forward to.
And as it is a coronavirus, it will probably never be eradicated, given our history with... I mean, the cold is a coronavirus.
Yeah, exactly. It'll just there'll be different forms of it that will linger around indefinitely. Anyway, right, so this is from the Chronicle Live, which is for the Newcastle, Tyneside and Northumbria area.
Ooh.
The story is by Will Metcalf.
Who's it submitted by?
Khyber.
Khyber, thank you, Khyber.
And the headline: Police forces reveal worst excuses for breaking lockdown, from camping trips to climbing Snowdon.
Oh, what a perfect way to end the podcast. A bit of levity here. Okay. Well, I say a bit of levity. The whole podcast should be that, really, but...
Well, yeah. It's a list as well. We haven't had a list to call for a while, so... So, since lockdown was imposed across the UK on March 23rd, it's fair to say everyone has struggled. Most people have managed to obey social distancing rules introduced in a bid to help stop the spread of the coronavirus. And this week, Prime Minister Boris Johnson said the UK was past its peak. Obviously, this is an old story. But as forces reveal the number of fines issued, they have also begun to reveal some of the worst excuses offered. Northumbria police said that they found a group who have travelled 40 miles for a camping trip, as well as disrupting a woodland barbecue, which imposed a serious fire risk.
Yeah, don't fucking have a barbecue in the woods. My God.
It's one of those things that's not specific to coronavirus. Just don't do it.
No. I mean, I'm trying to think of an analogy, but it's a bit like... I don't know. I mean, it doesn't really need to be an analogy. I'm just thinking that it's, why would you start something flammable around very flammable objects, i.e. trees, wood?
I mean, Alex, there's a lot of things been going on this week that just defy common sense, so I don't think we should look into it too much.
But those pictures of the beaches, why would anybody in their right mind wanted... Because more people went the next day after seeing that. That looked like a picture of hell. Coronavirus or no coronavirus. I mean, that is not a pleasant day out.
No, not in the slightest. I completely agree. Why would you look at that on the first day and think, actually, that's a good idea. I think I'll do that as well. Right, okay, so some of the excuses. I drove from...
How many have we got, Rob?
How many is there?
Because I like it when you do a countdown.
There's no... I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay, 12 excuses.
They're in no particular order, by the way, but... So number 12. I drove from Birkenhead to walk up Snowdonia because I was bored.
Well, I mean, that I give credit to. Yes, we were very bored. You shouldn't have done it, but at least you were honest, no? I love it. It's not an excuse, just blatant honesty.
Number 11, I made a 52-mile round trip to buy some CBD oil.
We had... Yes, that's fine, yeah.
Number 10, I have driven from Norfolk to exchange a motorbike.
Can I just say, Rob, I know I take issue with local news journalism a lot, but I really do take issue with this article because it talks about excuses. These are not excuses, they're reasons. People have given their reasons. They're ridiculous, but they're not excuses.
But no, but they are excuses. They've broken I appreciate what you're saying, but they are excuses. They've broken lockdown.
All right, okay, yeah, go on.
So number 10, I have driven from Shropshire to pick up a table for Mum. That is an excuse.
Yeah, fair enough.
Another one is I came from Birkenhead to pick up a bed.
Right.
And then at number... So what was this? Number 9, I think? No, it can't be.
I don't know.
I'm going to get rid of the numbers. I don't care. I've been to buy some nail clippers for the dog. My son is a rubbish cook, so I take him fast food every day.
Fucking hell.
I'm taking my quad bike for a walk. I promise I'm not going to ride it around a field. That's an excuse.
Yeah, that is an excuse.
I've just been to feed the fish.
What? What fish?
I don't know what fish. No idea.
Oh God, that's a lonely existence, isn't it, Rob? When you're going to feed some some carp in a bloody pond.
And the last two, the last three, I don't watch the news. What's been going on?
Oh, God, that's made my week. That, they knew exactly, but they just thought, I'm just going to play groups. What? What's happening? There's a pandemic. You what? Oh, really? Oh, that is just... I guess there must be somebody out there, Rob, who doesn't, watch TV, have the radio. They're completely, away from anything like that, and they don't know that there's a pandemic.
No, I do not believe that.
There must be
Surely
somebody,
there's
Rob.
no one in this country.
There must be.
I don't know, maybe. Okay, the last two. I'm taking my mate into Newport to buy drugs.
Just go right out there and say it. Right out there and say it.
Not only are you breaking the laws of lockdown, you're also breaking the law full stop.
Yeah.
And the last one, I heard someone may be in trouble, so I came to have a look, but I don't know the name or remember the person who told me about it.
Yeah, now that's an excuse. Rob, I think you're missing one there. I got a cold sore. It was an emergency. I really had to see somebody.
Absolutely.
Right, well, Rob, that brings this really extraordinary packed episode of LA Podcast, Rob, to a close. We're not quite to a close, because I'm really looking forward to our headlines, which never made it. I hope you got some. I got some good ones this week.
I do, yeah.
Well, Rob, we can be found on our website, lapodcast.net. From there, you can download all of our episodes, all 300 plus of them, for free, if you like downloading manually. I think most of you will be listening on podcast apps, whatever podcast app you use. Obviously, you're finding us, but here's the question. Are you leaving a review? Are you hitting subscribe? If you're not, you need to be. If you use the Apple Podcasts app, I was having a look, Rob, and we haven't had a new review on there for some time. And I just asked people, it's so easy to do. It takes seconds. You just say, leave review and submit it. Please do, because if you're listening to this and enjoying it, I know it might not feel like it, but it actually does help us, because when people are going onto a podcast app and they see however many good reviews, they're more likely to listen to it. So if you're one of those people, I want to see over the next couple of months at least 10 more reviews on there, just to prove that people are listening to me. Because I do ask this, and I kind of feel like nobody's listening to me, Rob. I feel like I could be talking to a brick wall. I hope I'm not. I hope I'm being heard. Thank you.
No, Alex, no one's listening to you.
Oh, right, okay. Right, Rob, we look forward with a mixture of eager anticipation yet trepidation to our next episode. Oh, I've done things in the wrong order. Normally, damn it. Well, it doesn't matter. We're on Twitter at LA Podcast. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LA Podcast. We're on Spotify, etc., whatever. Rob, we look forward with a mixture of eager anticipation yet trepidation to our next episode, which will be 318.
That's it, yep.
As we move ever more forward, Rob, like a possum who's been unfortunately, Rob, hit by a car, killed, but, Rob, in a miracle of nature, is rescued from the dead by a woman with goldfish and windscreen wiper washer fluid and the magic word, repent, back, Rob, to life.
Just to clarify, there is no
the possum's dead.
Indication that she resurrected that possum.
No, that would be a story, wouldn't it? That would break us all out of this misery we're all in, to know that a woman had physically resurrected a possum. We can only hope. Just like that, we move forward to our next episode, which will be episode 318. Right, Rob, time for the headlines, which never made it here. Which I really love that we do this now, because we always have these stories knocking around that we never get the chance to read. They've often got great headlines, but the headline kind of tells you what it's about. There's not enough in the story to read out. But this way we give people such a wide range of content. Right, Rob, how many you got?
Just the 3.
I've got 5, so I might start off with 2. Okay, naked Florida man accused of bizarre crime spree that included trying to kiss elderly woman.
Nice, yeah, why not?
And another one, man wanted by police after taking poo outside Domino's Pizza in Melksham.
Lovely. Okay, bored cat owner creates fleet of cars to entertain her pet during lockdown.
Fleet of cars?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
She's basically made a load of cardboard vehicles for her cat.
Oh, I thought it was a real fleet of cars. Right. Okay.
No.
What a boring story that sounds.
case is quite entertaining, though.
Rob, I'm sorry I didn't read this story in full, but we'd had too many of them recently, and this one, well, it wasn't very long, but you're going to love it. Doctors in China remove fish from man's rectum after he says he accidentally sat on it.
Yeah, of course.
We've had a lot of anal insertion stories recently, Rob. And,
we have.
Fish. Who the fuck? What the fuck? I don't know if that fish was dead or alive, but for the fish's sake,
I imagine it was probably alive when it went up there.
Right.
Austrian police defend decision to fine man after provocative fart.
Oh, is that why you asked me not? You asked me not to read that story, but you didn't feature it in full.
Yeah, I've changed my mind about it. There's not a lot to it.
What is a provocative fart, Rob?
Well, apparently, I think this man had he got into an altercation with police, farted, and apparently it was so heinous that they decided to fine him as a result of it.
I don't think you can be because you could have farted out of stress, and if it stinks, it stinks. You can't. You've got no control over that.
No, apparently there was a suggestion that it was definitely intentional.
But how do you Okay, never mind. Milkman broke dog walker's jaw. This is actually a great story. After he launched bag of feces at milk float. I do just want to tell you, this is from, because we haven't had a local news story. Well, we kind of have, but Lancashire Telegraph. This was, Rob. So basically, this 60-year-old had angered. So he's a milk driver, and he'd angered this guy after almost hitting him and his dog with his milk float. And so the bloke went mental and launched a bag of recently collected dog shit at the milk float. And then the milkman fractured his jaw.
Wow.
And it needed a metal plate inserting. I mean, this is a proper village violence, Rob, this is.
It reminds me of a story that I actually read today that happened in Clacton, where a dog walker was out walking his dog first thing and apparently was lunged at by a youth carrying a knife. And the dog walker knocked the guy out.
Brilliant.
And literally knocked him to the floor and then just walked off.
Oh, great. Probably ex-services, that guy, or something like, or ex-cop. Yeah. Okay.
My next and last, Darth Vader enforces lockdown in Philippine village.
Sorry, what? I need to know more. You know, I need to know more, Rob.
So basically, there was a youth worker and his employees who decided to take it upon themselves to ensure that the local youth weren't violating lockdown. So dressed up as Darth Vader and accompanying stormtroopers. Brilliant. And patrolled this local village, ensuring that
where was this
safe
again?
Inside. In the Philippines.
Oh, brilliant. All right, Rob, last headline then from me.
Okay, yeah.
And last headline of the week?
Yep.
Patient dies after family members switch off ventilator to plug in cooler at Indian hospital.
Oh my God. That's awful.
Gallows. Imagine the doctors come rushing in. What happened to the life support? Who unplugged it? We wanted to call some beers. They unplugged the fucking life support, Rob.
That's awful, Alex. I really hope they didn't know what they were doing.
No, it was an accident. Apparently, they're devastated. Anyway, no. I mean, look. Sorry, bit of dark sort of gallows humour there to finish us off. We got to laugh about these things, Rob. Really, I think.
You do, Alex. You're right.
Anyway, all right, Rob. So, look, thank you for listening, everybody. We've really enjoyed your company as always. We're going to be back in a week's time with Daft Talk. Is it episode 10? Fucking 10,
I think it
Rob.
is 10, yeah.
It's the big 10, Rob, of Daft Talk. And then a week after that, we'll be back for 318 of LA Podcasts. Thank you for listening. God bless.
And keep it local.